Good morning, everybody. We are now going live. Let me see if I can get to where I can see my comments coming in here. Wanted to wish everybody a good morning. Going to wait just a little bit as everyone gets a chance to join on. Got some people showing up here a little at a time. Good morning, Jessica. Glad you are here. And Meredith. We got all kinds of people joining on. I tell you what, I'm excited. Even as I looked in, got this thing started this morning, I saw we have 458 members on this group right here. That's a lot. I mean, I remember it was like just, man, a couple years ago, we didn't have 400 people on our regular Facebook page, let alone this individual connect page. I was pretty excited the fact that we're over 450 now, which is really good. Make sure, do me a favor, and again, spread the word as you see people, as you know people who need community. This is a great opportunity for you to invite them to come and be a part of it. I know I've been spending time with our missionaries, doing FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, all those things with our partners. And I've been talking with them and inviting them to come and join us. Some of them at the 8 o'clock hour. Many of them can't do that because they're on the other side of the world. But it's a great opportunity. I've been telling them you don't want to miss it because of the fact that this is community. I told them about yesterday. I was having fun because as Dave Chittick got going on his time yesterday, he found out what many of us found out, which is when you pull it up on your computer, sometimes it changes the platform on us, and it really throws you for a loop, and you hit that point of your devotion time. By the time you get started, you're so flustered because you've been trying to get moving with the whole Facebook Live thing, and so I like it that now finally I'm getting comfortable enough with it. And we got 20-some people joining on. Good morning, everybody. And Kathy and Pam and all you guys who've been, Bob, morning. Glad you guys are with us. I have just come to love this time together. I was telling one of our partners yesterday, I was thinking about today actually holding out for just a little bit, because I saw yesterday when Dave Chittick, was just a minute or two late, that it seemed like, the whole internet blew up as everyone was wondering if we were going to be meeting, and I could just see everybody's, and you could feel the pressure that everyone was feeling of like, what in the world are we going to do if we're not going to have our morning time together where we can spend this time at 8 o'clock and talk to one another. And I could just feel that pressure building in everybody. And then all of a sudden, Dave went live, and it seems like everything went right in the world again. And it was just a great morning. It made me laugh as Dave then gave a great word. This has been such an encouraging time. I know we say this. I've heard many of you guys say this. Can we please keep doing this? When this is all done and all of that. And the reality is that I know we would love to, keep doing this stuff, because what we have seen here has been amazing in the community. That is, this has been really good for our church, of our church coming together and becoming just a better community. So, well, we've got a 36 or so we got plenty of people going now. Let's go ahead and get started. I was thinking this week, just kind of preparation, and I kind of go back and forth between, preparing for these things and also wanting just to be fresh word that God's kind of given us and given to me. And I found out something really interesting last night, which was this. Some of you guys think this would be silly, but for me, it was a real encouragement. So a week from tomorrow, May 15th, will be my birthday, turning 44. I'm finally at that point where I'm starting to feel, I keep telling Amy this last year, I'm starting to feel 44, right? I start to feel that age where I'm still trying to work hard, trying to do all kinds of things, but yet my body hurts a little bit more, and things start to, I'm starting to feel like I'm 44, right? I'm no longer a kid. I'm not quite, old, and I'm just right in the middle, but not as much in the middle or younger as I thought I was at one point. And I'm starting to feel that. I got depressed a couple years ago when I turned 42, because when I turned 42, I was hit with the realization that that the military didn't want me anymore. Right now, that's again, some of you guys won't track with me with this, but this was something that was a big deal to me when I hit that point when I realized. Many of you guys know I was in the Army, and I realized that the cutoff age for enlistment was 42. And as a guy who was a part of the Army, that was a big deal for me, because I was like, oh man, now I've now hit that age where I'm old enough where the military won't even take you if I try to get back in for any reason. I have no plan on doing so, but in case I ever wanted to, I wanted that option, right? And so I was sitting down last night and I was scrolling through some stuff, and I follow a lot of military things, and oddly enough, I just came across something that I had never noticed before, which is, if you were prior service military like I was, like I am, then you can actually re-enlist. The age goes up higher. And so even though I'm 44, I actually have about 4 or 5 more years that I'm able to re-enlist in the military if I need to. So that was an exciting thing for me. I was pretty excited. Again, I'm not planning on doing it, but I like that option there, right? I like to be able to know that if they need me, they can call me up, right? That I can be there and be a part of it. And many of you guys know I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. I was a junior in high school, and went in between my junior senior year down to basic training down at Fort Benning, Georgia. Went back for advanced infantry training, and I was a tank guy. I joined the Army National Guard. I had one of my brothers was a Marine, and so I was going to join the Marines, and he talked me out of it. He said, "Nah, actually you want to do something like the National Guard because you can get your schooling, your education, and if they need you, they pull you up." You see, there's a concept with in the military, especially people who are in the National Guard. There's kind of two approaches to the military when it comes to the National Guard. One is you have the stereotypical weekend warrior, right? You've got the weekend warrior, which is the guy who does 1 weekend a month, twice in the summer, and they come in and they train, and then they leave. I remember hearing a story of my uncle, one of my uncles, who would always, when it was his time to do one of his drills, he would always slick his hair back because he had long hair, and he'd pull it all up under his hat and was able to pull it off over the weekend. But then basically you live the rest of that month, the rest of that time as a civilian and do all that. And then there's also another view of the military that which is the old colonial, the Minutemen, right? Which is that you're ready at any time, at any opportunity to be called up. And so you train once a month over the summer, you do these things and you train and you get ready, but you're there to be called up at any point. You're always ready to go. And so when I enlisted in the Army National Guard, I decided that's the kind of guy I wanted to be, right? I want to be the person who is always ready. I'm still that guy. Stay in shape, eat right, do the right things, stay up to speed so that you are going to always be ready. Because that's just, for me, it's an important thing in life, especially when it comes towards defending, your country and things like that. So I started thinking this morning, early. Actually, it was last night. I started thinking a little bit about it, about the kind of person that we see around us, the people that we surround ourselves with. And I go back to, I'm gonna share with you one of my favorite Bible stories. I've done this before, but one of my absolute favorite Bible stories is in 2 Samuel 23, which is the story of David's mighty men. David's mighty men. If you haven't read it, read 2 Samuel 23, and it kind of describes, starting in verse 8, it kind of describes the whole structure of David's military. David surrounded himself with people who were warriors, who were fighters. And so he would go in, and it describes, he divided the armies up. He had 300. He divided them into groups of 100, then in groups of 100 into groups of 30, and he put a leader over each of the 30. And he has these really complicated names for these guys. These leaders were called the 30, and then over those 30, there were 3 guys over each of those, which he called the 3, right? And so those were the 3 mighty men. Those were the ones who were the leaders of the army. And so as he's reading through it, I love this. It says that let me tell you a little bit about these guys. It says the names of the mighty men who David had. One guy's name was this is in verse 8. It says Josheb-Bashibeth. Okay. Side note: when you're a pastor and you're reading names and places and things like that in the Bible, they teach you in seminary to just read it with great confidence, and then everyone else doesn't know that you have no idea how to pronounce these things. So a lot of these things we just kind of making them up as we go along, but that's okay because we say it with enough confidence. But it says Josheb-Bashibeth, the Teclamite, the chief of the captains. So he was the chief guy. Also called Adino the Eznite, which means nothing to me, but because of the 800 slain by him at one time. You can also read about this in 2 Chronicles 11, and talks about that he had a spear, and at one point he was in a battle and he was surrounded by 800 men, and with this staff, the spear that he had, he killed 800 men. It says after him was Eleazar the son of Dodo, which is a lot of fun to say, the son of Dodo, the Adonite, the one of the mighty men who was with David when they defiled the Philistines and they were gathered to battle, and the men of Israel withdrew. They were in battle, they run down, and all of a sudden everyone else withdrew, and it was just David and Eleazar and a couple other guys. It says he arose and he struck the Philistines until his hand was weary and clung to the sword, and the Lord brought a great victory. And always when I teach these to kids, I would say you ever done that where you just hang on so tight that all of a sudden, maybe when you were a kid in the monkey bars and you're hanging on and trying not to let go, and all of a sudden you let go and you try to open your hand and it just hurts. It says that he fought so long, so hard with the sword that all of a sudden his hand clung to the sword. And I always said I remember him sitting around, picture him sitting around a fire trying to eat, beans and stuff, which is a great big sword, because he just could not let go. That's the kind of person that he is. With it is that he couldn't let go of this. And it says the next one was this guy named Shammah, the son of Agi, the Herite, the Philistine, who was gathered into a troop where there was a plot of ground full of lentils, and the people fled from the Philistines. But he took his stand amidst the plot and defended it, and struck the Philistines, and the Lord brought a great victory. Again, in 1 Corinthians it says there were hundreds of people, and Shammah, this guy, he comes running down this hill, and as he comes running down this hill to attack the Philistines, it says all of a sudden the people of God got scared, and they ran the other way, and he found himself all the way down by himself. And instead of turning around and seeing that nobody was there and running back, it says he just kind of dug his heels in and started to fight. And he took one guy after another after another. So it describes these guys, and these are the guys who David's chief men. And then it tells a very short story, starting in verse 13. It says the 3 of the 30 chief men went down and came to David at harvest time to the cave of Adullam. This is when David had his army hiding from Saul. They were in this huge, massive cave of Adullam. And while the troops the Philistines were encamped around the valley of Rephaim, David was in the stronghold of this big cave, while the garrison of the Philistines was in Bethlehem. And David said he had a craving, and he said, "Oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." Verse 16. So the 3 mighty men broke through the camp of the Philistines, drew water from the well of Bethlehem, which was by the gate, and they took it and brought it to David. And I love this story because it's like David's men who he surrounded himself when they're standing around, and David's like, "Man, I'm thirsty. I wish I could have a drink of that water." The well right there by the gate. This is what I really want. Water from that well. It is so cold. It is so good. So these guys are like, "All right, let's go get it." And when David wasn't aware of it, they snuck out. They fought their way into the garrison. They fought all the way to the stronghold of the Philistines, fought their way in, they ran and they grabbed a bucket of water and they come running out. And I always tell the story, I just picture them sneaking in and just giggling, having so much fun because this is going to be a fun thing for them to do for David. They fought their way in, they're fighting their way out. They come all the way to David and they're like, David sits down, he's still plotting and he's trying to figure out whether they're going to move the troops next. And as he's sitting there laying out the strategy, they're kind of like, hey, David, do you want a drink? And David's like, yeah, I'm good. He goes, oh, it's a drink from this well from Bethlehem. And they hold it out, and David's response, I love this, says, nevertheless, he wouldn't drink it, but he poured it out to the Lord. And he said, behold, far be it from me, O Lord, that I should do this, that I should drink of the blood of the men who went in jeopardy of their lives, so he would not drink of it. And these are the things that the David's mighty men did. And what I love about this story, there's a lot of ways I've gone with the story in the past, but what I love about this story is that it tells about the men that David surrounded himself, that they would do anything to honor their king. That they not only were on when David said, okay, I need you to do this and you to do this. It wasn't like, okay, great, now it's my time to be on. I'm in charge, so I've got to go lead troops here. But even when they were just hanging out, even when they were just being who they are, they found something that was honoring to their king, and they went and did it. It was a lifestyle of who they were. They were always on, right? So I was thinking, they were not weekend warriors, right? They were not on only when it was time to be on. They were on all the time. They were the real deal. They lived this out moment by moment. They were ready to jump in and become the deciding factor in these situations. These are the people that David surrounded himself with. And I was thinking, not only is it the people who David surrounded himself with, but it's the people who I want to surround myself with, who I want to be with. Right? I want to be with people of action. And so I've been thinking a lot over the last few weeks of this coronavirus and what this has done for many of us. And I've been thinking about how it has impacted each and every one of us differently. Everyone knows there's not a single person who's on this who this has not impacted their life one way or another. It really has made a big difference. And so one of the ways is I've been thinking of my kids, as my kids have watched me. I work here at the church. I'm at the church here this morning. I've got some meetings going on right after this. And so, but people, see the church. And my kids have seen me go to church, right? I got to go to work. Oftentimes we do this when we come on a Sunday morning, right? We're coming to church. We got to go to church. We do the, if you swing by during the week, I got to run to church. I got to go to church. And now it seems like all of a sudden my kids are watching me do church together, be part of the church. Instead of going to the church, we are part of the church. Matter of fact, my kids walk in about this time in the morning, and they see me watching and listening to these devotion times that we're doing. And as they're watching and seeing them, that they're looking on there, watching us gather as a church family. They're seeing times when I'm sitting down with a Zoom call. My kids, if you've been a part of those, many of you guys have been a part of these Zoom calls that I'm hosting, whether it's with small groups or with our Global School of Leadership or whatever we're doing, elder meetings, things like that. I'm in a Zoom call, and all of a sudden my kids come walking in, and they come looking in the cameras. This happens with all of us. And they see all these little boxes of people on these Zoom calls, and they're seeing the church, and they're experiencing this, that this is the church coming together. And I love this. Throughout the week, I'm averaging 3 or 4 calls a day, whether it's with individuals. I've been talking with missionaries. I've had elder meetings, various teams, small groups. And each of these times, it's the church coming together. Every morning now at 8 in the morning, we're doing church, right? The church comes together. I love at the School of Global School of Leadership that Bobby O'Donnell is taking that, and Bobby, one of our friends here, he mentioned on Tuesday night, he said it's like, it seems like how all of the different compartments that we keep our lives in, all the compartments are now in our homes. And I thought that was such an amazing point. It's like everything that we've done in our life now is all coming together in our homes because we don't have a choice, right? Because of the situation that's been going on. Most of us have compartments in our life that we just kind of keep separated, right? We again, think of a Zoom call, if you've seen those, all the different boxes that are across there. And we have a compartment like, I've got my work, I've got my home, I've got my family, I've got church and the weekend services, I've got, the different things that I've got all, and I keep these things separated. And I keep these things, and occasionally they kind of come together, but for the most part, I go and do this, I go and do this, I go and do this, and now they're all together. I love the fact that this is what I have seen here for each of us. For many of us, all the compartments that we've kept so neatly separated now have all come together in our homes. We now can't simply just go and do this and go and do this, but now it all takes place right in one place. I love being together. I as a pastor, I'm studying God's Word, I'm watching messages and things, but I don't know about you, but for me, during this time, over the last few weeks, I have needed a little bit extra. The reason why I love these 8 o'clock devotion times together is because I need it. Probably more than I have in the past. We need this community. We need the conversations. We need the things that are going on throughout this time where we're coming together as a church. I love the fact that I'm watching and I'm hearing each of you doing life together like that, right? Where all of a sudden we're seeing people wanting no more to be weekend warriors, right? No more do we want to be a weekend warrior, but now all of a sudden it starts every morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Some of you guys start before that. You get in the Word before we even get our time, and all of a sudden, each and every day, we're feeding ourselves. We're coming together, and we're being a part of the church. We're doing church. We're doing life together. We're being the church, not just a weekend warrior, but we're making a difference each and every day. And I just gotta say, we are so proud. We, Matt and Aaron and I, we're sitting around with the staff, and we're going through wins and some things that you guys are doing, and it is blowing me away. It just, day after day, we are amazed at what God is doing through each of you guys, through your willingness to just continue to be faithful, to share the love of Christ, to show the love of Christ, to be in community with one another. I want to give two passages of scriptures here real quick. The first one is in Hebrews, Hebrews 10. These are things that have been an encouragement, things that I've been thinking about the last couple days when it comes towards us as a church family, and just kind of as I see how we've been moving. Here's what it says. Hebrews 10, 24. It says, "Now let us consider how to spur on one another to love and good deeds." This has been awesome. We have watched this happen on this page right here, where we've been spurring one another on to good deeds. A lot of people have come on and said, "Hey, I think we should try this. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Let's just do this and this." And all of a sudden, more and more, we're watching each of us become more and more equipped to do ministry, as we're making meals, we're making masks, we're delivering these things, we're dropping food off at the church, we're taking care of our neighbors, we're mowing lawns, we're doing all these things. Whatever we can figure out that we could do right now to make a difference, you guys are doing that, and we're spurring one another on. Right? We're and the word, you guys have probably heard this before, but the Greek word is actually, the word means to agitate. It means to stir. It means to mix up. It means to, it's kind of like when I'm sitting down and I'm trying to read and my kids are constantly like on the couch hitting me and getting me. It's like they're making me uncomfortable, right? That's the same word right there. It means to agitate, to spur on, to get knocked out of your comfort. And it's like, that's what we're doing, is like constantly, we've seen people who I haven't done a whole lot, and then all of a sudden it's like, in this time, man, I'm starting to plug in, and I'm doing more, and I'm being a part of more things. I'm in more studies. I'm helping more people. I'm engaging at a much different level. And so this passage says, let us now consider how to continue, for each of us to continue to spur on one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking the assembling together, not forsaking our own assembling together. Man, we've killed this. I love it as a church. We have not forsaken the assembling together. We're like, we can't meet in the building. That's all right. We don't need to meet in the building. We're going to meet right here. We're going to meet together on the weekends. We're going to meet together each and every day. You guys have done it awesome with that. I want to, again, remind you, encourage other people to join this time, 8 o'clock in the morning, and be together. Don't forsake the assembling together, because if we're all here, we should all be here, right? And so we want to get together like that. It says, not forsaking the assembling as is the habit of some. And for us, some of us were thinking that might have been us just a few weeks ago, where I come to church maybe not every week, maybe every other week, or actually I'd come on the weekends maybe every 2 or 3 weekends, or once a month, and all of a sudden that became a pattern of life for us. And it's like that's just kind of the not anymore. That's not our pattern anymore, right? Our pattern is we come together as a church, number one, each and every day. This is what we do. We come together in the morning. We come together throughout the day. We're checking the page. We're calling one another. We're checking in on each other. But we don't forsake the assembling, as some has gotten into the habit. So, but encouraging one another. But encouraging one another. We do this as we encourage one another. Because when we do this, again, I talked about this in the weekend message, it's that we're encouraged to put courage into. This is what we do every morning at 8 o'clock. We put courage into each other to live this out. And then I love at the end of this passage, it says, all the more as you see the day draw near. All the more as we're coming to the end. I'm thinking, even as this will end sometime, because this will end sometime. This is not going to be forever. Right? This coronavirus, it just will not be forever. And so even as this comes towards an end, I want to encourage us to continue to encourage one another, to build one another up, to do the things that God's called us to here in Hebrews 10:24. Second passage I want to encourage us with, which is one, again, we've talked about many times before, which is Acts 2. Acts 2, 46 and 47. It says this. It says, day by day they continued in one mind in the temple. I love it, day by day, because this is what we're doing. Day by day they gathered together on Facebook. Right? Okay, my scripture doesn't say Facebook, but this is what we're doing. It says they did it in the temple there. But day by day they gathered together in one mind on Facebook, breaking bread from house to house. And that's actually, the breaking bread actually here is communion. It means that you are in communion with one another. And so we are communing with one another in our homes. As many of us are going to be right here on our screens, we are communing one together in each of our homes. They were taking their meals together with gladness. Maybe they did it over Zoom or appropriate social distancing or however else they would pull it off today. But they did meals together. They spent time together. I want to encourage you guys. I've been telling our small group leaders that Amy and I have been able to do game nights and things like that with friends over Zoom and over FaceTime and things. And so they did this together with sincerity of heart, praising God together. They praised God together. They spent time on Sunday morning. We gathered together. Matt and his team leads us in worship together. And it's not just me and the screen, it's you and the screen and our family screen, but it's your family and my family and every family around coming together as we're worshiping God together. I love that. It says, and having favor with all people. And they had favor with all people because they possess a hope. Because of the hope that they had, they found favor with all people who they came in contact. And as a result, it says, and the Lord was adding to their numbers day by day those who were being saved. And I am blown away at this truth, because this again is what we have seen. This time it's like, okay, the church, you guys can't meet together. Yeah, we can do it online. Okay, but it's going to impact ministry, it's going to change how things go. Actually, it's been really good for us. We've seen people connect. We've seen people come to Christ. We've seen people turn their lives over because of what God's been doing in and through each and every one of us, the church, right here on this online community. And God is still in the business of changing lives. He is still in the business of reaching people who are far from Him and drawing them close to Him. I love this community that we have here on Facebook as we've come together at 8 o'clock. So I'm thrilled that our church, I have firm belief that our church is going to be stronger. I was talking to the Hefners yesterday, partners of ours who were in Taiwan. Now they're in Texas, and they were asking how things were going. I said, boy, you know what's amazing is that our church, when we went into this, we were thinking, I just hope this goes well. And then all of a sudden it's like, actually, I think this is going pretty good. And now we're looking at this, that our church is going to come out of this so much stronger than when we came into this. We are a stronger place because of the challenge that we've had right here with this virus and with the need for us to come together as a community. It's been good for us as a church. We've come together, and I think we're going to come out of this so much stronger as a result of it. Instead of us, we had the opportunity for each of us to kind of go in our own little corners and take care of ourselves, compartmentalize anymore. Instead, we've all come together, and I'm so proud of you guys. You guys have done that. Let's keep focusing on what matters. I just wrote this morning. You know, what we say as a church, what matters? Faith, family, service, right? Faith, our times together, our worship times together, spurring one another on, growing, discipleship. I love jumping into group meetings, watching people grow deeper in their faith. Family, let's focus on family. Let's focus on being together in our groups. If you're on this group, if you're on this page, maybe you're watching the replay of this and you are not part of a small group, info@fellowshipcleveland.com. You've got to call us. We've got to get into a group. You got to become, because it's not just this time, but you can be a part of a bigger community within a small group. And so make sure you get a chance to sign up and be a part of that. So faith, family, and service. And our service is, again, just what we're able to do in caring for one another and sharing and showing the love of Christ to an unbelieving world. And this is what we get a chance to focus on as a church. And it doesn't matter if we're here in the building, if we're on Facebook or Zoom or whatever platform you guys use outside of this. You can do all of that together as a church. So let's keep up the good work. The encouragement I want to give us is that we are so, I just feel blessed to be a part of this community. It's really good right now. For how hard things are, for how difficult, for how bad it is in certain circumstances, God has given this as an opportunity for our church to grow. And I see that despite pain, despite discomfort, God is utilizing this to grow us as a church. And it's just been an amazing experience that we've been a part of. And so I want to encourage you guys to continue to keep up the good work. I want to encourage you to stay in community with one another and make sure that you get draw together closer during this time. This is not a time for us to go to our own separate ways, but it's a time for us to come together as a church, to be the church. We got a lot of great things coming up. You're going to hear a little bit about this weekend, about our Love Your Neighbor initiative that's going to be launched, that we're able to do some real practical things of serving our community. I want to encourage you to continue to be an encouragement to one another. Use this time as someone comes onto your mind. I've been trying to do this. As someone comes to your mind of like, boy, this person has really been an encouragement to me, write them a thank you note, send them an email, do something like that. Let them know. Don't wait, just real time. Let's continue to be in community with one another. So we are proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. I love my church. There's been times and seasons of life when ministry is hard and you just do it because God's called us to be a part of this. This is not one of those times. This has been such a joy during this difficult circumstance as our church has come together. We love this place. We love as a pastoral team, as an executive team, as pastors and staff here at the church. We love the opportunity to be a part of this church. We feel blessed that God has allowed us to be a part of something so much bigger than us. So let me pray for each of you, and then I'm going to send you off into your day. Some to work, some to working from home, some to taking care of the kids and school and all of those things. I've got a special place in my heart for each of you guys doing school, because that is not easy right now as we're trying to figure all of that out. Even at our house, my wife's doing an amazing job keeping up with all of that, but it's just hard this time of year normally, but especially as we're doing things online. So I want to encourage you guys, and so let me pray for you and send you guys out for your day. Let's pray together. God, thank you for this opportunity to be together every morning at 8 o'clock. Thank you for all the people who have led and who've been a part of this, for people who have shared from their heart, people who have shared from your word, and for the way that you continue to honor and bless their efforts, God. Thanks for surrounding me with people who are real, who are just people who, and they are who they are, and they're used by you in real powerful ways because they've allowed themselves to be usable and just made themselves available. And so, God, I pray for each of us here. I pray that throughout the day today, you put people in our minds and in our hearts who we can serve, who we can love, who we can point to you and show them who you are. God, I pray for our president. I pray for those in authority over us. I pray for our governor. I pray for those who are making decisions and those who are leading our state, our country, and our community, God. I pray a blessing to them. I pray wherever they are in their faith, I pray that they feel your presence. I pray that they are pointed to you. I pray that in this moment they turn their eyes to who you are, your goodness, your grace in their lives. They turn their lives completely over to you, and you use this time even for each of them to draw them into deeper, meaningful relationships with you. God, I pray for our first responders. I'm just thankful for our nurses and doctors and those who are on the front line caring for us. God, I pray that as we go forward, that as these things continue to diminish in urgency, God, I pray for our community to continue to have the love, the respect, and the honor that is due to our doctors and nurses and police and fire and medical. And God, I pray that you just continue to honor them for their service to each and every one of us as a community. God, help us as a church to not just be in the community here, but be a part of the community. Help us to be an encouragement and point people to who you are. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to make a difference, to not just be weekend warriors, to not just show up on a weekend, to not just be on when it's time to be on, but to be on every day, and to be to make our faith real. And God, so we give you our day. We wait expectantly for what you have for us, for the opportunities that you're going to give us throughout the day to reflect you. And so I pray all of these things in your Son's name. Amen. Amen, everybody. I want to encourage you guys, go throughout your day today, look for these opportunities to bless one another, to bless our community. So love you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Make sure if you guys need anything, you contact us here at the church, info at Fellowship Cleveland. Call into the church and we'll get back with you right away. If you've got our emails, you can get a hold of us that way too. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning when the next guy comes up, and I'll be here waiting for you guys.